Hi, this is Surendran Jayasekar, founder of Success Gyan. Today is a very, very exciting day personally for me. I have a coaches roundtable, the first ever coaches roundtable. This room has got combined 150 plus years of experience in coaching and training. And it's great honor for me to have this amazing group of people here, the best thought leaders in the world, one of the best coaches in the world, here together with me to have a conversation which you not planned at all. You're going to see how this goes. But what I know for sure, anybody watching this, if you are a coach, you want to know what it takes to become a truly world-class coach. If you're someone who has no idea about coaching and thinking, what should I do if I want to find a coach? Should I need a coach? This conversation will help you find, do you need a coach? How to identify the right coach. And I'm going to start by introducing the people. Just one line would do for them. The person sitting right next to me is a legend. I call him the living legend. For the 50 plus years, he's helping people to reach where they want to reach using his success principles. I would call him the world's #1 author, 500 million plus copies of books sold, co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, Success Principle. Jack, welcome to the Coaches Roundtable. Right next to him is his prodigy, Puja Puneet, who's been helping women by creating an army of life coaches. And she always believes no women should cry and go to bed. I will find someone who can help them really reach where they want to. Thank you, Puja, for being here. Next to Puja, I call him the digital geek, a man who's created the maximum number of digital coaches in the world, runs the largest community for digital coaches, helping people, showing people how they can become coaches ethically, morally, and also make a difference. To my left, a lady who's taken therapy to the masses by doing what she does, and she's got an army of therapists really helping people out there. Welcome to the Coaches Roundtable, Marisa.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you here. And the person next to her, I call him the little monkey, from Singapore. He's a peak performance expert. Anybody who wants to know how to be focused, disciplined, he's the man to go. Welcome, Thaddeus.
Thank you.
And the person next to Thaddeus is Dr. Meghana Dikshit. She's from Mumbai. She's the one who brings science to the table. How to rewire your brain to get whatever you want in your life. Welcome to the Coaches Roundtable.
Thank you. Thank you,
To
Surendran.
all of you, thank you so much. It's a honor to have this conversation for the first ever Coaches Roundtable. And we're going to start by talking the India story. Training, coaching is exploding in India. The world is looking at India. So, Jack, I want to start with you. You've been coming to India for many years. In fact, this is the third time you came for Success Gyan. We just did a 3,000 plus event in Mumbai. Can you tell how does the world see India right now? And what is happening in the coaching industry in India?
Well, I think the world sees India as just an expanding country, power, if you'd like. Certainly in the world of technology, amazing what's been going on. I've been coming here, I think it's like 2012 or something like that. And I've watched just the amazing progression of just the rising of competence, I might say, on a lot of levels. And so coaches are here to help people do that. And I think now, looking at what you've done and what other people have done, there's a resurgence. I shouldn't say a resurgence, but just an explosion of people wanting to know how to be more competent, more satisfied, more happy, more productive, all of that kind of stuff. And to me, every time I come back, I'm like, even just in my hotel, I was telling you earlier, the technology that's in that room, in my little iPad type thing that controls everything. But I've never seen that in an American hotel. And so, I'm excited about where India is headed, where it's going, and seeing the plethora of entrepreneurial endeavors that are coming about, and how all the people sitting here on these couches are helping people accelerate that, because just like with Puja, like not wanting women to cry when they go to bed, because every woman has a dream, but nobody was really pushing that and helping educate and empower people to do that. And she's doing that. And everyone here is doing that. So for me, it's like every time I come back, I'm like astounded, quite frankly, about what's happening. And like when I think about just your company and what you've done, the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that have been affected, and all of the people you've gathered together as a team to create that, is just, it's enormous. So Congratulations to you.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks to all the teachers who helped us reach where we are. We are forever indebted to all our teachers and mentors for really putting India on the global map. And I really believe personal growth is growing very big in India. And that's because of people like you, Brian Tracy, all of them who has really helped us show what is possible.
Well, I'll tell you this too. I look at I've got over 1 million people, on our mailing list, Facebook followers, that kind of thing. And India is the second largest country, numbers of people that are following my work and taking advantage of our online courses and all of that. So it's just a good example of what you're talking about.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you for being here. Marisa, I'm going to turn to you. You tell me, what do you think about India? Now, you just came and spoken a 3,000 plus event. You saw how people are. You have a lot of followers from India. I know a lot of people are therapists under you from India. Your take on India?
I put on a live RTT training every year in Dubai. And last year we put it on and it almost sold out. And almost everyone bought tickets from India almost immediately. So it was very interesting. It was in Dubai, but the biggest buyer of tickets to come and train for the therapists with us live in Dubai came from India.
Wow. Very exciting time for India. Thank you, Marissa, for being here. From Singapore, my little monk, Thaddeus. What do you think about India? You come to India every month, we know.
Yeah, absolutely. You were asking Jack the question earlier on what the world thinks of India. I like to approach it from what the world may not be seeing of India yet, that the world perhaps need to wake up to with regards to India. And why I keep coming back each time is, first of all, there's when Indians move very quickly, and they move big. There is a real deep desire, a real hunger to get better technologically, to get better economically, to get better kind of humanly. And from a coach's perspective, when we see people move, that's a reminder of why we do what we do and why I do what I do. And I love it doubly as well, because in India, there's a deep reverence for their teachers, for their masters, and to be growing and taking such massive leaps forward, but still being very grounded in the traditional values of family and community. It's just a perfect blend. Everything just comes together beautifully, and I get inspired coming here to inspire people. And I think that's something that the world needs to wake up to already, because India is taking the lead on so many levels, and in a way, kind of reclaiming its place in the world order.
Yeah, one of the things we always say, that is, I know you heard me speak also, that we had something called Nalanda University from 5th century to 13th century, 8th centuries. It used to be the wisdom capital of the world. People used to come to India, learn from India. And one of my mission, why I wake up every single morning, is to help the trainers and coaches in India to become truly world class, so that the world can come and learn from us and India can become the coaching capital of the world. And that's already happening. And we asked the 3 people from outside India about it. So let Puja, you tell me, you've been in this industry for 10 plus years now, and you've been seeing a massive rise in coaching happening. What do you feel? What is happening in India for coaching?
I think it's very interesting times, because when in 2011, 2010, 2011, I wanted to become life coach, my husband couldn't believe people get paid for advice and all of that. He was like, people are going to pay you? So it was very interesting, because we have such family systems that we just expect that family will help family. And so when I came back after becoming a life coach, I, for the first few years, had to convince people that this is not a taboo. You don't have to be mentally sick or unhealthy or any of that for you to get yourself a coach. And I feel like where we are today, I remember 10 years ago when I used to fly to all over the world to study, they used to say that, there will come a time where all of this industry will boom. And I'm so happy to see that the boom is now happening in front of us, that all that was predicted then is actually now happening in reality. And I think for people like us who are living in India, we don't need the global market. The market here is so massive that when people keep telling me, why don't you go international? I'm like, I have so many people to help here right now that first I want to serve my country before I go out.
Yep, I agree, Pooja. And I'm going to go to Meghna. She said something here. It is not the people who have a problem or sick who needs a coach. You do a lot of work with brain, right? Who do you think needs a coach?
Well, I would like to give a sports metaphor here, Suren. There are so many kids grow up in India playing gully cricket. Every child is on that road, right? So many kids are playing football on the ground. It's only people, those who look to live extraordinary or become world champions, those who need the coach. That's why they have it. So if you have a desire to become world class in whatever you are doing, you need a coach. We have a history where Arjun had a coach, Krishna and Dronacharya, and that's where Arjun is the warrior who's revered till today after 5,000 years. And Chanakya made Chandragupta Maurya who he is. So we have a history when we're talking about Nalanda, that we're talking about a history of Guptas and Mauryas, where every single king and queen and emperor and every single sports person had a coach. I think every person today who wants to become world class, shine what they do, you do need a coach.
Yeah, Meghna, I totally agree with you. I just want to do a little take there. You need a coach where you want to excel in one area of your life. Also, you need a coach where you're stuck in an area of your life. I think those two extremes are needed. So if you're stuck in an area, you can find somebody who's an expert in it, who's been there, done that, and you don't need to try it on your own. They have a step-by-step methodology where you do 1, 2, 3 that can work for you. And Sid, I'm going to turn to you. The man who's created the largest community for digital coaches in the world. And very proud to say, Sid, thanks to be in this roundtable. Your take about India, your take about what it takes to be a good coach.
Yeah. I just want to say, Suren, that this roundtable is very special because when Jack came to India in 2012, I was a part of that team that got him on the stage doing the marketing for it. And now it's like a full circle. We are coming back. When 2012 coaching industry was nothing. Like we could have counted the number of coaches who would have been there. Now these thousands have happened because of Jack stepping in, inspiring us with his message, and that leading and snowballing into what work we have been doing in Success Gyan for so many years. And now it's inspired a whole new generation. So I feel that when I observed the last 10 years, I've been like digital marketer, and then I got introduced to coaching thanks to Success Gyan. And when COVID happened, it was a confluence of both, digital marketing and coaching, and that became digital coaching. And that has given birth to what we are seeing right now. So I think where I see things going is, like you said, India has always been the wisdom hub, but we kind of lacked the packaging or the marketing and the ability to bring out our message in a more powerful way. And now with all the tools that we see in the digital world, that's what is snowballing, and that's what is taking the message out. So 2 parts to my answer is very grateful to Jack. You coming in 2012 has been the fire starter of this revolution. And again, the second part is, Suren, if not for Success Gyan and the exposure that you gave to us by inviting these international speakers, we would not be able to do the work that we're doing right now. So yes, we are at the start of the revolution.
Thank you, Sid, for the acknowledgement. I still remember 2012 when we started Success Gyan. I started Success Gyan only for one reason, to give back. Because one program in 2006 changed my life. And I said, okay, if one program can change my life, can I bring these programs to India? And Success Gyan was started just to bring my mentor, Brian Tracy, to India. That's it. And same year, we bought Jack Canfield. And what is amazing is here, you were marketing the event.
Yes.
But you are not a coach that
I was not a coach.
Today, you're sitting in this round table with the largest community for digital coaches in the world. For anyone watching out there, if you're an aspiring coach, your goal is to sit in this round table. It is possible. You don't need 10 years now. Thanks to technology, thanks to AI, you can do it in 3 years, 5 years. Now, I'm going to go to Marisa. Now, Marisa, you're a therapist.
And a coach.
Yes.
So,
I want you to tell me the difference. Who needs therapy? Who needs coach? What's the difference?
well, therapy deals with the past, coaching deals with the present and the future. So let's imagine someone can't speak in public and maybe they're going to go to a coach to learn how to, or maybe someone can't find love and they're going to a coach to try to understand what's getting in their own way, which is all very good. But therapy will deal with what I call unfinished business. Go back and have a look at the blocks that have really stopped you losing weight, finding love, being able to speak in public. So they go very well together. Therapy deals with the past, coaching deals with the future. We have what we call therapeutic coaches. Many therapists want to be coaches. Many coaches want to also do therapy, especially when they've got this client, I'm coaching them, but I'm not getting anywhere. So a lot of coaches would like to do therapy. And the other thing is, a lot of people don't like the word, I don't want to go to a therapist. We deal with a lot of very troubled teens, suicidal teens. And they feel if I go to therapy, something's wrong. If I go to a coach, that's okay because I'm just expanding into my greatness. A lot of men say, I don't want to say I'm going to a therapist. Something's wrong with it. I can say I'm going to a coach because I'm expanding into greatness. I'm just learning to expand, because once you expand your potential, the brain doesn't go back again. It really likes expansion. So they're both good. Coaching is great, therapy is great, but coaching is a better name than therapy. It doesn't have the stigma, something's wrong with me, I'm mentally ill, I'm crazy, I need therapy. It's like, no, I'm great, but I could be greater. I could be more, because your potential expands as you move towards it. You could never know what your potential is. It could be there, but when you get there, it goes there, and then it goes there, and then it goes there. So we all have untapped potential. And I think the world now kind of prefers coaching to therapy. So we have therapeutic coaching, which is doing both. And that's a great thing, because I think when you do both, you can be much more helpful. Some people don't need it. A lot of people really, really do need it.
I like the way you said something. Therapy deals with something you're holding on to past. If you want to solve it there, and coaching is if you want to deal something in present or ask for something in future. And people think coach is a better word because if they feel therapy, you have to fix something. That's why the taboo.
Maria's statement reminds me of something. When I was in graduate school, we were studying what we call psychological education. How do you educate people about psychological issues so when they grow up, they don't need therapy? And but we used to say therapy is too good to be wasted on the mentally ill. Because we all have our traumas, our misinterpretations, our parental controls, and the cultural conditioning that needs to be released and freed up. So, but yeah, I agree with what you said.
You know, here's something. We all hear the greatest fear in the world is the fear of speaking in public, but that's not true. The greatest fear is of being rejected if you speak in public and messing it up. And why do we have that fear? Usually because as a kid, we tried to read in class and someone laughed at us, or we spoke up and went bright red. And so we have this huge fear of rejection, which coaching is very good at overcoming. But there's a lot of unfinished business. Why was I rejected? We have a fear. We have such a widened fear of being rejected. And therapy is very good at going back and looking at that. I mean, all therapy does something called find the pattern, understand the pattern, change the pattern. Coaching is a lot of let's change the pattern, but we're very much find the pattern, understand it, change it, all at the same time. And that's very powerful.
Puja, you have created an army of life coaches, right? And life coaching is one-to-one. You can't do it with 10 people together. You do one-to-one. She said 90 minutes. How long does a life coaching session take to really give a result or something to start off with? 60 minutes, 90 minutes?
Yes, and I mean, I would like to say that sometimes it's just one sentence from you that can create that shift or that magic can happen. So for me, I just like to build the system in a manner where I take them through those 4 to 6 sessions where I can be assured that one of those sessions would have created the magic. So I don't know if it's the length as much as it is the readiness of the client, what they need, once they change their story, how much they're able to use that in their life, because they're changing their story with us, but their reality also takes a little while. So to give them that support and handhold them through the journey. So I have a feeling that it's very difficult to say how long. I would rather just be with the client till the time they feel they need me, or, till the time we can get the results that we had anticipated.
So sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 6.
Yeah.
And
I have clients with me from through 2011.
Wow.
Who just don't go away. So I feel like, because they're finding value in what they are and they keep upgrading their goals. And as they keep upgrading their goals, they keep upgrading their personality. So they're looking and seeking for that accountability that they may not have in their, wherever they are. So again, no right answer to the format of how a client would want to work with you.
I just want to continue with one more question. You have an army of life coaches. Can anybody become a coach? Or coaching is not for everyone?
Well, there are a few qualities, that somebody may need to have, like the way the world has art people or the science people. I feel like coaches need to be heart people. Like, there should be this interest and desire and care and concern at the basic nature, as a basic nature of the person. Having said that, of course, it's because to the art, there is also science, like the way anybody can become a doctor if they can get into that college. I do feel like, yes, if you are interested, we can work through all that is restricting you and get you to become a fabulous coach.
So basically, you need the heart for it.
I believe
you want
so.
to really help and serve people. It starts with that. The
Yes.
skills can be learned on the way.
For sure.
And the more you do, the better you get.
That's right.
So basically, you need a purpose and a heart. Siddh, you run the largest community for digital coaches, right? Who do you think should become a coach? And who should stay away from coaching? Is there a list who should stay away from coaching?
Yes. I want to just ride on what Puja just said. It all begins with heart and intent. Like, why do you want to become a coach? And when you have the right environment, people will change. Like, even I've noticed people who have not had any experience in coaching training, when they come to the right environment where the people around them are very supportive, especially I'm propagating the community angle and more like peer-to-peer support and help, they're able to pick up skills fast. They're able to, it just rubs off onto them. Like, if somebody else has that, that zeal or the energy to do something, just that peer-to-peer creates that shift. So on a one-to-one, we can create shift, but on a peer-to-peer, when you put them into teams, this is what I learned from Blair. Like, when you provide them a safe space and you make them accountable and make them hold each other accountable, transformations happen. So to answer your question, anyone whose heart is in the right space and they want to help people, that is ideal. But even if they come from a space where they are not like that, if the environment is right, they will change. But there are some people who come into these environments and some of their old programming is so hard that it's not really working. So who are the coaches to stay away from, if you ask me, are the ones who are all about me first. Yeah, not mission first. And the me first, you can clearly see through in their marketing. It's a lot of hype in the marketing. What I observe is, again, nothing good or bad, because when I analyze many of their personas, because I've seen so many people doing this, it usually comes, and I'm sure Marissa, you can, it usually comes due to some trauma in their childhood that they're trying to fill that vacuum later on to show that they're someone. Or the hype is not actually what's the problem there. The problem is something deeper that they need to work on, which they're not working on. And that is why it's a combination of all this that works. So the coaches that I would stay away from right now is look at those who are me first, who are all hype, and who don't have depth or substance in what they are teaching. But the best part is, now the purpose of this conversation is to open up everyone's minds to continue the lifelong learning journey, because it's always a work in progress, and we are holding each other in check. I think that's also very important. No one can be a lone warrior or a lone wolf. They need to be a part of a group that holds each other accountable. And that's what I love about what we are doing, Surendran. I mean, you're always there to check on me, and Pooja's there to check on me, or Meghana, Thaddeus. We hold each other accountable, and that's so important.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You opened a different topic here, but we haven't dived into that. Who are the coaches to stay away from? For me personally, I feel if you're me, myself, I personally stay away from them, because Blair, for people who don't know Blair, we call him the master of masters. The reason what we do in Success Gyan is because of a lot of mentorship and coaching from Blair. He's helped all our coaches to become truly world class. And he said something very beautifully, right? The way you teach is more important than what you teach. More than that, who you are as a person is more important than the way you teach. Because end of the day, your mentees or people under you are going to subconsciously model you. So it's a lot of responsibility when you're a coach. So for me, the simple metrics is I want to see how the person is on stage and how is the person behind the stage. Sometimes not everyone is the same. It's a completely different persona when they go on stage. And for me, that's a red flag. And the coaches who normally, when Jack comes in or Marisa comes in, the first question they ask is, who's the audience? What is the audience mix? What do they come for? What do I do to serve them? That's a very different place from coming. There's certain coaches I've worked with. I need 1 hour. I don't need the audience to move. I need this table. I need that. I need that. I'm saying, oh. So that's the difference, right? It's the I, me, myself. And one more problem in India, I think Meghana, Thaddeus all must have seen, is some people, when they get a little success, it gets into their head and they think they're God. And those are the coaches to stay away from, because they really need help. They need a lot of coaching instead of going and teaching other people. I also believe we have met people who are not the same, but they fade away. You can't be there forever, because as you rightly said, you're going to give so much, you're going to receive. If you're vibrationally not able to hold in, you're going to get crushed someday. There's no two ways to it. Because you need to be work on progress every single day to vibrationally match that. We talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
Meghana, you also have a band of coaches working for you, right? Who help people in your community. Now, what is that you look for when you find someone and you want them to become a coach under you? What is that you look for?
So, I remember, Suren, 28 years back when I started as a fresher doctor, graduated just now. And the one thing that I knew is as a doctor or as a coach, my role in someone else's life is of a guide and not of a hero. Because that story is there and they are the hero of that story. So my role is outside, but since I'm outside, I'm like a helicopter which is able to see the 360-degree of their life, which they are not able to see. Now, I don't need to be the perfect guide, or I don't need to be the perfect person that, oh, I have to be the boss of the story. No, I'm not. But I'm able to see, say, they are not able to see. They are able to see only 10 meters. Maybe because I have a 360-degree angle, I'm able to see 100 meters. And I can just guide them the next 90 meters and then go ahead and see what. So my job as a coach or a doctor or a healer is to be there with them in their journey, knowing that I'm supporting. So to come to your question, when you said that, what do I look for to take the coaches in my team, is the first thing is, are they willing to work on themselves? Because I consider myself still a student. And every single person that I work with, I feel that there is something that I have to learn. And I firmly believe, Suren, that since we are going to talk about the law of attraction eventually, I firmly believe, Suren, that the people, those who come to us, are coming to us because there's a part of me that needs to be healed through them. As much as I am healing them, they are healing me. So that's my first criteria, that are you okay to be vulnerable with your students? You don't have to sit on a throne and say, oh, I am this great person and I know everything. No, you got to be at that level and say, hey, you know what? I was just ahead of you a little bit. And I've gone through what you've gone through. And I know there is ocean of change and you can cross that with me. I'm just looking for someone who's okay to keep learning, growing, being vulnerable at the same time, to be able to stay out of the story, not get attached to their story. So, and there is a process that I use to teach them how to get there. So they have to go through the entire program with us first, to open up themselves, to heal themselves and their journey. It's not like I'm healed fully. Nobody here is on this table. We are all work in progress. To be aware of that and to be able to tell the person also what expectation you need to set for the person when they're going through a session. And as Puja said rightly, it may take one sentence or it may take 10 years for a person. So I personally feel that the diagnosis is more important than the treatment itself. So that's the reason a coach or a doctor or healer, whatever you're doing, I think the diagnosis holds more importance than the process itself.
Okay. Thank you, Meghna. That's a different way of looking at it. Jack, I'm going to ask this question. You have a lot of people who have become great coaches. Of all the students you have, some people have really made it big, right? What, according to you, are the qualities which has helped them reach there?
I think they've worked on themselves more than the other people have. It's been my experience. They've been willing to really invest themselves. And I would say a lot of the ones that I see get really successful go way beyond me. They go work with other people. They study other things. They're constantly putting themselves in a learning modality to shed more of their blocks and also learn other techniques perhaps they can use. So you have more tools, if you will, to be able to support people. I started out primarily as a school teacher. So I noticed that all my kids had low self-esteem. So I started figuring out how can I raise their self-esteem, became a self-esteem expert for a lot of years. And I used to say self-esteem is composed of feeling lovable and capable and significant. And what happens is the lovable part, that was the easy part. The capable part, that's when I started getting into, well, how do I help people be more successful so they can handle? If you have a sense of competence, you believe no matter what shows up, you'll figure out how to deal with it. Then you become unstoppable at some level. And most people don't have that. And so when people keep learning new techniques, I wasn't teaching meditation. I didn't know about yoga. I didn't know about guided visualization. You know, there were a lot of things I had to learn along the ways, but each thing that I added to my tool belt, if you will, made me more effective.
Can I just add, there is another quality too, though, which because we've trained 20,000 therapists, and it's being really curious and fascinated by human behavior. You know, the word cure comes from the word curious. And so I say to my students, look, the difficult clients are the best ones. They teach you don't want the easy ones, the difficult ones. And I've had a few, and I would say, you're so fascinating. I notice how when you say this, your body, or when you do this, the minute a client thinks you're fascinated in them, they kind of drop their guard. And so we've had some certainly challenging clients, but if you can be fascinated by what makes people tick and think, well, this person isn't difficult, they're in pain, this person isn't rude, they're obviously suffering. You've got to put all your judgment aside and go, this person is fascinating. I'm deeply curious about why they're like that. And that helps. So that fascination here with Hayley makes amazing coaches. And I agree too. We do pro bono. We offer all our coaches to see at least one client a month without charge. Troubled kids working in schools and people who can't afford it, because it is a heart-driven business. So you can't go in it just for the money. And for many people, it's not. When it's a vocation, they go, I'm in my community helping these unhappy children. It's the best job. I would say, yeah, I really want to make a great living. But you should, it has to be all of that, different to everyone.
I just want to underline the curiosity. I think that's really true.
Yes.
I agree with that.
I found that my most difficult clients, they're your teachers. It doesn't matter how message everyone is, and our training is amazing. You have a new teacher, every client usually is going to teach you something. So ask for the difficult ones, the challenging ones, because they're so beneficial. You learn so much about human behavior with the ones who really make you work hard.
I think that's something what Meghna also saying,
Yeah, I
right? You're
also
getting
wanna-
healed while
Yeah,
you're
I also want to add something when Jack said that you have to do this over and over again and again. So a lot of times I myself at 28 years, I'm sure Jack and Marisa would be, they're more senior than me and Thaddeus. So you will understand that when you are starting the session, you kind of know what's coming up, right? So one of the greatest qualities that a coach or a healer can possess is to not assume. I think that's the hardest that I had to master, and I still work on it. Every time a client shows up, I'm like, don't assume. Be curious.
Yeah, be curious.
Be open, and let's see what comes up here. So I think that's one of the greatest.
because you kind of think you know the answer, but each story is different.
Yeah,
And-
and most sorry, most of the times what you're thinking is right. Like intuition is sharpened, right? But to be able to still stay neutral and say, no, I am not going to impose my views. I'm going to wait and see what comes up.
Yeah, that is, you're saying something.
Which is, and so the curiosity works the other way as well. So I'm not just curious about the other person, I'm curious about myself. At that point, when someone's doing something, saying something, I need to be curious about my own judgments that might be coming out. I need to be curious about the emotions that might be surfacing. I need to be listening to myself as much as I'm listening to the other person.
Yeah. Where do you think? Pooja, I want to ask you this question. I'll go back to you, Thaddeus. We meet a lot of people. You meet a lot of people. You get to see all kinds of people. You know, a lot of shit is happening in this world. So how do you deal with it? Because you listen to a story. We're all very emotional people here, right? You feel for them, right? How do you deal with it? How do you ground yourself where that doesn't affect you?
I think the story that I have kind of given myself to be able to handle people's pain personally has been around the fact that we have all come here to suffer to grow. So it's just been like, okay, if the soul needs to grow and it needs planet Earth to kind of, so then in their suffering, I don't want to be God. I just want to be the angel who's holding space, because if I take away their problem, God will give them greater, because their journey still has to continue. So my job is, can I ease the pain and not take away the pain? So now that the intention is not to take away anyone's pain, rather to understand that pain has a purpose, then it becomes very easy for me to kind of like, stay with the person in their pain. And so I find that then very, like it's possible then for me to be able to stay caring, stay curious, keep working on my competencies to see where am I not being able to help people, challenge them in their journeys. I call these the 4 C's that can be worked upon. So therefore just holding space for the person, and knowing that it's like that stick that we put in a plant, and then a day comes where you can remove the stick and the plant is ready to go. So the same way I feel our clients are similar in that manner. We are just being that support system, and a day will come where the same challenge might just feel like a gift in their life.
You have seen a lot of people with crazy loads of problem, and you've been doing therapy for many, many years. How do you stay detached from it?
I don't think I do detach from it. I think I'm very involved in it. But I think when people say, a lot of our own therapists say, how do I not take this home with me? Well, would you ask a surgeon that or a police officer? Maybe. You have to believe that it's getting to you. People say, I don't want to absorb it all, but you have to believe you're absorbing it. I believe the day a client comes to me or someone I've trained is the day they get better. It doesn't matter how terrible it is. And of course, we hear horror stories a lot. But if you know that day is the day it gets better, you focus on that, not, oh, the pain, this was an unwanted kid, this was somebody who was abused, and how awful it is. You have to believe you're taking all that on board or not. And I don't believe it. And I have people who say, no, I've got a bowl of crystals, I wave eagle feathers around my head, I do grounding, I do chanting to not take it in. But you have to first believe you're taking it in. Why not believe you're not taking it in? You're of service, you're doing a great job. I've never believed when a client leaves me, they've left all their stuff and I'm absorbing it. Well, I've never believed that. I believe we have a great job. We have a job that gives us meaning, purpose. We make an impact. We help people grow. We contribute. We make a difference. This is all amazing stuff. And we're giving a lot, but we wake up and I think, wow, I've got a great job. Someone in the world is having a better life because of a skill I possess. That's what you focus on, the good you're doing, not, oh, am I taking all my clients' negativity? So I don't believe I ever take that on, although I've heard some really horrific stuff in my time. But if you do believe it, that's okay. Just minimize the belief. And if you want your crystals and eagle feathers, that's fine. But I don't hear surgeons saying, at the end of a day of operating, how do I go home and not take all of this on board? They just get on with doing a great job. We're here to serve and do a great job. And it's not about us. It's about our clients and what we can give them. But when you give, you receive. So while we're giving all that stuff, we're doing the best job in the world, I think. And that's a great thing.
I think too, I'm a student of the Enneagram, which says there's 9 different personality types, and I'm a 3, which is very achievement oriented. My wife's a 4, which is very compassionate and empathic. My wife will take it on because that's her nature. I do not. And so that idea, whenever I've been like, how should I say, where I'm taking it on, it's because I haven't dealt with that in me yet. So if someone brings up something where I've not healed that aspect or that event or that kind of a situation to myself, then I can get triggered as well. But if I've handled it, which I have done a lot of therapy and a lot of growth in different ways, then it doesn't get to me. And the other thing, I have a belief that everything that happens is for the good of people, not the bad. It's kind of like you're saying, this required suffering for growth. If it's true that everything that happened to someone has a benefit to them, that it was meant to happen for their growth and evolution, then why would I be upset about it? It's like, oh God, you had to deal with that. I dealt with this. I had an alcoholic father who was violent and so forth. You had this experience over here. So I now hold this space that everything's okay. It's just the way it is. My job is to work with people to move through the pain of it. I think pain's mostly self-inflicted through our beliefs, through our not accepting the way things are. For resisting growth and flow and change. I mean, everything that resists change gets plowed over at some level, whether it's in the economy or in ourselves. So for me, holding that belief that looking for, what was the gift of that, as opposed to that, oh, it's so terrible and never should have happened to you.
Yeah, that's a good take, Jack. Thanks, Marisa, for that intake also. So then I want to ask you this question. You have lots of coaches under you. I asked the question before, I did come to you for that. What it takes to become a great coach? Of all the people who have been successful under you, what is that quality which you see common in every of them?
Yeah. So when I actually analyze the people who have been able to build large communities, because that's what I teach people, to build communities. One is their own vibration, because what I've observed is when I started in 2018, whatever I was going through, I was attracting similar people. And then as I kept working on myself, I can see even there's a change in the caliber of the clients that I'm attracting based on my state of mind. So for example, if I do a lot of one-to-ones. So let's say I've done 10 one-to-ones with my, say, top students. And if I see there's a pattern of a challenge in them, the problem is not in them, it's in me. And I need to work on that. And when I work here, I can see it changes there. So if you ask the quality of a great coach, especially those who are building communities, they have to really be aware of where they are and continuously work on that. And that way, it also opens up a new dimension because you start to see the response in your clients, in the community, that because they're a reflection of you. So if I'm tight-fisted with money, I'm going to get more people who are tight-fisted with money. And if I'm continuously investing in my growth, I'm going to attract the same. So that's one part. And the other thing about great coaches like who have been successful, they're like the word curiosity has come in, and to add to that is updating themselves with the latest like skill sets, because today we are moving in a world where things are really fast, and I see people who are able to make quick decisions. Like I say, money loves speed. Like the faster they're able to innovate, and that's what even you do. Like you're very fast to course correct, and it's not like set in stone. You're very going in the flow. So I see those are the coaches who are continuously upskilling themselves and implementing with speed, not looking at it as a setback, but looking at fast course corrections, are the ones who are able to really push through. And the ones who usually get stuck are the ones who have, I mean, this is how it should be, and they have some, ideology. I'm very inspired by Jeff Bezos' quote. He says, "Be fixed on your vision, but be flexible on how you get there."
Yep.
And that I think that's the underlying point. Yeah.
I like that because they can't afford to wait to get.
No, they can't
perfect.
afford to
Yes.
wait. You can't afford
Yeah,
to wait.
I think I've seen
Yeah.
that as true
You
as
just
well.
have to
yeah.
do it.
Yeah, any day go for progress, then perfection. Any day. That is, I'm going to ask you this question. You get to meet a lot of students, and you also get to see a lot of coaches. How much is focus and discipline important if you want to become a great coach?
I want to draw the distinction between, since you brought up discipline with willpower. People tend to misconstrue the two. I look at discipline as a long-term practice. Right? The word discipline from the word disciple, which is to learn. Right? So what makes a great coach? Well, what are you learning at the moment? Where are you getting better at? And discipline discipline is a multi-day ultra endurance marathoner. Willpower is a 10-meter sprint where I'm summoning the willpower to take an action or to do something. It's the first gear in a car. You can't drive a long distance using just the first gear of a car. You're going to consume a lot of fuel. You're going to require a lot of power. It's just not sustainable. But the discipline, you don't need that much fuel. You're not burning sugar when you're running. You're burning fat. And we have more limited stores of sugar and quite unlimited stores of fat. And discipline is that long-term practice. So what makes a great coach, or what makes someone who is going to perhaps make the biggest change in their life is, well, what's your practice right now, right? For me, one of the things that keeps me kind of grounded in discipline and focus and presence is I do the household chores myself at home. I don't intend to be a professional dishwasher to earn money from cleaning my floor. I do the household chores because it's a practice. It's a practice of cleanliness, being next to godliness. It's a practice of presence. It's a practice of humility, and it's a practice of service. And so when I get on my knees and on my hands each night in the kitchen, I'm literally grounding myself back in on what is this work that I need to be doing with myself here. So, and that's what discipline is, right? I'm learning not by not learning how to clean the floor, but I'm learning by cleaning the floor. So to keep myself grounded that way. And at any point in time, we all need to be having a practice. It could be a practice of curiosity about people. It could be a practice of groundedness. It could be a practice of presence. And I feel that focus and discipline is important, right? So that's discipline. Focus is a removal of distraction. What is my ability? And we're sitting here on the table, lots of items on a table, lots of colors, lots of objects to grab our attention. But to be able to focus on one thing is to be able to say no to everything else. To be able to put aside everything else as it's unimportant, it doesn't require my attention right now, and there's just that one thing. that requires my attention. That in itself is also a practice.
That is quick one. And I want you to tell me this. I think any of you can answer this question. See, all of you have tasted success. You could have stayed there, but you chose to work on yourself and go to the next level. And it takes a lot of hard work. It needs more time, less time with family. There are a lot of sacrifice you're doing. Why do you do it?
I think because we love it. When you do what you love and you love what you do, first of all, it doesn't ever feel like work. I'm sure we all here work. I work very hard, but I also feel like I've never worked a day in my life because I'm so lucky. And I think, we have a job that we never have to retire from. We're always learning. I mean, I guess if you were a police officer, you'd have to retire. My father was a head teacher and he never wanted to retire because he learned so much from those children. But we're so lucky. We can set our own hours. We don't have to work 9 to 5. We'd set our own hours, we set our own fees. We don't have to ask for a day off if our kid is sick. And we never have to retire. We have one of the best jobs in the world because an amazing career will give you growth, contribution, meaning, purpose, significance, connection, diversity, certainty. We have all of that every day. There are very few jobs that give you all of those things every day where you give and receive. You get paid, you get respected, you get revered, you get a lot of compliments. So it's just an amazing job. I can't think of another job. I don't think I'll ever retire. We make an impact and our life forever has meaning and purpose because we give and receive.
Jack,
Because
I
I
need to
think
ask you
anyway.
this. You're 80, if I'm not wrong, correct? You were a monthly millionaire 10 years before. You could have retired at 70. Why you did?
I could have retired at 60. The same answer is I love what I do. Someone once said, when your vocation feels like a vacation, you've made it. And so for me, I can't wait to get on stage, to be in front of people, to do what I do, to coach someone, to counsel somebody. I mean, I do it on airplanes with people I've never met, because it's who I am. And so my wife, when we made a lot of money, was saying, you could retire. And I go, do what? Golf? I don't like golfing. I like working with people, so that's what I want to do. So I built a company that allowed me to do that, and the whole thing is structured so Jack Canfield can play. and I like it. And everything Marissa just said about all the feedback. I literally, about 3 years ago, my wife went to the Bahamas with I couldn't find my passport. I was supposed to go. And all of a sudden I'm home for a week because I couldn't go. And I have this thing I've been collecting in my office, a dresser about this tall, real wide. And every drawer was filled with postcards and letters and emails, like how I'd changed their lives. And I remember looking at that and thinking, on my deathbed, I'll sit there and I'll read all these things and look at what a great life I led. And then at one point I said, you don't need this anymore. And I literally threw out 5 garbage bags full of that stuff. But that was, again, just to underscore what you're saying, how many lives I had touched, you've touched, we've all touched. And that satisfaction of watching someone's eyes light up when they get it, or that letter you get that I talked to my husband this way and he's not hitting me anymore, or I got into the school of my choice because of you, or, my, whatever. That's that's food for the soul. So that's why I
agree, Jack, because I think we do God's work in our own little way. Because when you make a difference to that one person, it's going to impact his family. It's going to impact people around it. It's a ripple effect you're creating, and that inspires us. And I always say, I can do this 24/7. You wake me up 3 a.m., I'll still have the same energy because I love doing what I do. And it really inspires us. And if I can reach 10 people, why not 100? If I can do 100, why not 1,000? That's how my mind thinks. If 1,000, why not 10,000? And if this can make a difference. That is, you come to India twice a month, thrice a month, you stay away from your family. And the work you do is on stage, 10 hours a day, high energy. It takes a lot of fitness, I understand, but a lot of heart to do what you do. And I know you really push yourself because you always play 100%. I've never seen you 99.99% also. How do you always keep there?
The word inspire comes from the Latin root word inspirare. And inspirare means to breathe. And breathing is the fundamental act of staying alive, which is to say that when we're inspired by what we do, or when we're inspired by a project, inspired by a mission, we come alive. It helps us come alive. So how do I maintain that level of energy, or why do I do what I do? I think there's a strong, just want to be careful here that whilst, we all love what we do, and, it's all giving and all that, and there's a romantic quality about that. But I want to bring out one person that is also equally important, and it is the receiver. When I change someone's life, yeah, the family, the village gets life. But when I change someone else's life, there's this other life that gets changed. This one here as well. I do it because I get better. I get better. I have to get better to be able to do it with somebody else. I have to get better to do it for somebody else. And as a result of someone else getting better, when I give, I'm actually receiving. So it is not, it's about them, it's not about me. No, it is also about me. It is all about me at the end of the day. And when I heal someone, there's a part of me that heals as well. When I do the work with someone, to be congruent on stage, I need to show up as that person. So I do what I do because I get better. And when I get better, I can then bring better to someone else. So that's why I push myself a lot when I go onto stage.
If you want to get really spiritual about it, we are all one.
Yep.
Everyone on the planet Earth is part of me. And when I help them heal, I'm helping that part of me heal. It's this illusion that, if I go like this, it looks like there's 4 different entities there, but down below we're all connected. All the islands are connected down below the sand. We think we're different. So when I heal myself, or I help you heal, everyone is healing. And so it fulfills me at some level to know that.
I
Yeah.
was speaking to him yesterday and I had this conversation. I think a couple of years before, somebody in an interview asked me this question. Success Gyan, millions of people transformed, so many world-class coaches. There's one thing which you're very proud of, what it is, but it has to be one thing. It was a kind of trick question. Thinking, what is that one thing? When the answer I gave them was, the one thing I have to be proud of is the person I've become in the process. It's not about the millions of people. It's not about the coaches we have created. The person I've become in the process. I think all of you will agree with that, right? 10 years, what has happened to us as we start evolve and grow? As I see Thaddeus say, that man is so disciplined. Can I be 10% out of him? And we start getting improved, right? So you tell me, Puja, how has it been, the success, the money, fame? When you go on airports, people click selfies. How does it feel? Is it more responsibility? Do you feel you arrived, or how do you feel?
I feel like my journey is split into 2, where in the beginning, I was doing it all for myself. I knew I wanted identity, financial freedom, respect. And I think I did get on to, at some point, I did started to feel the hamster wheel running. And I remember a wonderful therapist sitting down with me and doing a little bit of work with me. And I think for a lot of us, it does come down to wanting to prove ourselves. And I think I was on the hamster wheel trying to tell people, look, I'm good enough. I'm, or whatever it is that I was seeking. And I feel like a shift happened recently where I have now started to feel like, now that I'm good enough, I have this gift and I want to serve it. And the hamster wheel remaining the same, I'm just now not running on it, I'm walking. There's an ease that has come into the work that wasn't there earlier. And now I just feel like I have nothing to prove. I'm doing this because of the love of the work. And genuinely, that's where it started to move towards. So now I'm very careful on the days when I am feeling exhausted, tired, burnt out. I ask myself, what is it I've been wanting to prove and to who? And I take that step back and go, oh, okay, so I'm feeling burnt out because there's an agenda here. Can I do this without the agenda? And the minute I remove the agenda, I'm back in my ease. So peace has become a very huge component of what I'm choosing to do now. So can I remain in my peace and still do it? Can I remain in my peace and still do it? Is the question I continuously work with now.
I love that, Puja, because you do a lot of work with passion as well, right? And oftentimes people think passion is all about, oh, I'm so excited, it's exuberant, it's exhilarating and all that. But the distinction of what passion in Latin, pati, means to suffer. And hence when we talk about the passion of Jesus Christ, for example. Isn't Jesus going like, yeah, I'm going to die on the cross? It was him suffering all the way to the cross. And so that question that we hear a lot, people say, what would you do if you knew that you could not fail, right? I'd like to ask another question, which is, what is worth suffering for? And if it's hard work on those down days, or with that difficult client, or that you're suffering, what is worth suffering for that will get you out of bed, that will stop you from retirement, that will keep you going?
Yep.
I find it to be a very powerful
Yep.
question for myself.
What is worth suffering for? Sid, I want to ask you this question. I know it's a dream for you to be here because I've seen you as a student in a Success Gyan ecosystem. And today you have 30,000 plus people in your community, some of them very, very successful. Whenever you're in a room, people say, Sid, I let your community name. How does it feel deep down? I know it's a lot of responsibility, but do you feel you arrived, or how do you feel?
In the beginning, it was like, yes, I'm glad I'm able to have that person feeling good, okay, about the whole thing. Now it's come to a point where, the more I'm associating with all of us, with Blair, and, in that mode of service, it's just being the channel. I'm not, it's not me doing it. It is someone doing it through me. And the more I want to be in that awareness. Yes, I receive the love. All of that is great. But I also know that, but I also make them aware that even when you get to this point, because what I do, they will also model, in the sense that they're going to. So I want to make a point that, yes, as when you put yourself in that zone that you're just being used for something bigger, it's a beautiful space to be. And just to add to that, we all need to have a North Star. And I'm really thankful to you, Suren, that we all have this North Star where we are working together as a group of coaches. Like, even sometimes if I feel low, or let's say there are moments where if it feels there's a lot to do, we're not able to achieve those numbers, let's say there's the other side of the game. But when I remind myself of the North Star, which is, yes, we want to make India the training capital of the world, or even what Blair also has shared with us, the bigger vision, that really resets the whole equation. So this is something, the reason I'm sharing this is because it's very rare to see a group of coaches where we are one in, like, we're working one in spirit. And even if one of us are going down, we had a wonderful conversation that night, Thaddeus. Thank you for that. Because now we're able to express ourselves to each other and recharge each other through this process. So to answer your question, I feel honored that we're able to do this work. And maybe we were already chosen before, and now it's just, that's it.
Just come together to just do that.
It's
work.
just the awareness, and that's it.
I'm going to ask Jack. He's seen the world because I've met lots of coaches across the world. I've not seen till now where 10, 12 of us who work as one team. That's what we've created in India now. You've seen Puja, Meghana, and Thaddeus here. We have another 8 coaches. 12 of us actually work as one team. When I say one team, we keep each other accountable. We learn from each other. Have you ever seen like this anywhere in the world? Or what do you think about it?
Well, I think it's great because you're bringing a lot of different aspects together, people with different focuses, different skills, talents, whatever you want to call it. And it's a very harmonious group. You covered a lot of bases, if you will. And I think people need community. And you've created that among yourselves, and you're creating it, hugely over there. And I've got we call it the Canfield family with thousands of people. And I think people need to know there's a place where they can be real, where they can let down their hair and be honest. It's a safe space, you keep calling it, which I agree with. And that's really what I think is happening. What's happening in the world in general, people are starting to collaborate more. There's less competition, more collaboration. And we all need to be here together to support each other to get to where we want to go. And so you're modeling that, if you will. I went to your website, a few nights ago and looked at it and looked at all of your resumes and what you do. And I thought, wow, this is really extraordinary. And the fact that you've reached, tens of thousands of people you have in the time you have. I mean, I remember coming into your first office, and now you've got this multi-layered building you're doing, and it's all amazingly designed and modernistic. And I thought, wow, there's the physical manifestation of what you've been doing out there on the human level. So, good on you is all I have to say.
Thank you, Jack. I'm going to ask Marisa your question to you because we're all very human, very normal people. Do you have your down days? And what do you do?
Don't really have down days because I love what I do so much. I think it's very hard to have down days. I mean, I'm very lucky. I've got a wonderful husband. We run he owns half the business. We run it together. Got a beautiful child. I've got great relationships. So I think when you're a coach, you learn to communicate. So you don't really have that. My husband doesn't understand me. My kid is so difficult. My boss is driving me crazy because we have a very privileged life. And you ask what we're most proud of. We put our therapies into the school system. We've got 1,600 schools around the world and quite a lot in Dubai now. And that's just an amazing thing. The couple of years ago, I was in bed and I opened an email and I just got an award for this innovative thing in education. I was thinking, well, how many children is that then? I thought, well, there's 1,600 schools. I couldn't even imagine how many it was, but I was almost in tears thinking, wow, that's the most amazing thing. I've got a technique and it's affected all these kids. So if I had a down day, I would take the day off. I'd lie on the sofa, read, play with my cats. So we're quite good at finding what makes me happy. Exercise. I'm very lucky. I don't have to work. I don't do 9 to 5, 6 days a week. I have a very privileged life. I pretty much do what I want. And so if I had a down day, I'd hang out with the people I love and probably do less or think about all those children and think, wow, that's amazing. All those kids have a better life because of a gift I learned that I passed on. And so I think my husband and I feel very lucky because we've helped a lot of people. And it's that same thing, this is my cup. And when I wake up in the morning, it's full. And I give to my husband, I give to my clients, I give to my cats, I give to my children. They give back to me. So at the end of the day, my cup is always full. Because when you give, you receive. So I'm never empty. I give a lot, but I get so much back. And I love my life. I'm living a great life, my best life. It's an amazing life. So I feel very lucky. So I have tired days, occasionally frustrated days, but I don't think I ever have down days because I have such an amazing life.
I agree. Yeah. Meghana, for you, when you're low,
Yeah.
all of us can't be high all the time, right? What do you do?
But reframe that word.
Okay.
Don't say low. Say I'm tired.
I'm tired. Okay. When you're
I
tired,
need to
when
be
you're
re-energized. Yeah.
What do you do?
Interesting question. I think I have various ways to recharge myself. I don't think I'm mentally ever tired because I agree with what we do and we're accountable with each other. I just love, and at the cost of sounding very philosophical here, but I'm going to say that I look at macro to micro and I feel that in this whole big universe, there's this one galaxy. In that one galaxy, this is one solar system. In that one solar system is this planet. And in this planet, here I am. My planet is a speck in the entire universe. So what is my existence? And with this existence, I still matter. Because for the large part of my life, I felt I didn't matter. So when I feel that I mattered, and that's why I'm here. So how do I make the most out of that, what I matter? And how do I make the other person feel that you matter? So I think I'm mentally never tired. I'm always excited for my next moment and this moment. I'll come back to the physical tiredness. So I am very categorical about what do I consume when I am tired. So generally, I'm very categorical about what I'm consuming as a information. So I choose my information. So when I'm tired, I watch a lot of stand-up. I go on to watching, I may have watched Friends probably 25 times, 25 times, the whole series. I'll still pick up something and watch that makes me laugh. So
Even I love Friends, by the way.
I just pick something that makes me feel lighter and happier because I know that the moment I go to the familiarity, like Friends is familiar, right? So when I go to the familiarity, automatically my state of mind changes and it makes me feel, okay, I'm youthful again. And when I'm in my 20s, it's like a very different energy and, you're all ready to take the world. And I feel the same again when I'm there. I sleep a lot. I sleep sometimes 10, 11 hours. Yeah. And I'm very grateful for it because I was talking to Thaddeus today morning that I feel that starting your morning slow is a luxury in today's world. Lot of people don't get that luxury. right? To sleep 11 hours is a luxury, I feel, in today's world. So I'm very grateful and feel blessed. So I think a lot of endorphins and dopamine automatically pump in when you do all of these things, and you just mentally, physically, then automatically you just get aligned. For to answer your question, I have a lot of fun activity, and sometimes I've already shared this in our Women Growth Summit. Sometimes I do some weird dance.
Okay. Okay. We don't have space
No,
at
I
that
know.
stage for you to
I
show
know,
what that weird dance
I
is.
think we've done that already. So I do stuff which makes me realize that don't take it seriously. There's tomorrow is there, and tomorrow is going to be brighter again. So it's okay to be tired. And earlier when I was younger, I never knew what to be tired, because I was always told to do a lot of hard work, and you cannot be tired, because if you're tired, then you're not going to get where you want to go. And as you're asking question to everybody, I just feel that what once was a dream has become a reality. So it made me realize that, okay, that means whatever I'm thinking and feeling, I'm going to make it a reality. So I've learned to choose what I want to feel. I've learned to ask myself better questions. I've learned to choose my thoughts. I think that helps me every single day to feel uplifted and not feel tired.
Oh, let's talk about something I feel is very, very important right now, the current state of the world. Because all of you are meeting tons of clients. You have also coaches, a lot of participants and customers. What are you seeing as a pattern in the world happening right now? Anyone can go for it.
I think loneliness is an epidemic. We're creating a world of massive disconnection where, and comparison, social media, for all the good it does, it's got a lot of, we know the expression comparison, the thief of joy, and people go, oh, I'm going on this site, am I a 10, now I'm only a 3, and everyone is comparing themselves. And I think social magazines and the media do a lot of damage, especially for young people who think they've all got to look perfect to matter. So I see loneliness more than anything. And loneliness, disconnection, and not feeling good enough. I would say those 3 things: not feeling smart enough, worthy enough, attractive enough, because the measuring stick is social media. We go on all these sites, go, I don't look like that. I didn't look like that when I had a baby. My kid isn't like that. My marriage isn't amazing like that. There must be something wrong with me. So I see a lot of not enoughness. We created the I'm Enough movement because of the epidemic of not enoughness that's behind everything from addiction to obesity to compulsive shopping, because so many people don't think they're good enough. I mean, I felt like that for years, so I recognize that. But that's what I see. What do you see, Jack?
Oh, I see that a lot. Even my own sister right now, her husband died. She's older. She's not attractive as she used to be. Her teeth are having problems. She's afraid to go out and, be with people. And she's very lonely. She called me a lot, because I'm her brother. When he talked to me, and, my wife says, get off the phone, talk to me. You're not married to her. And so I do talk to her. But I mean, the point is, I say that's her number one issue. And I think so many people, I also agree with you with the teens. The fact that they were homeschooled during the pandemic, they didn't interact with anyone else. The number one thing, every hospital now in America, in an emergency room, if a teen comes in, they have to ask the kid, do you have suicidal ideation? It's now a standard, because so many kids are thinking about killing themselves because they don't know what to do. And unfortunately, our education system is not teaching them the skills they need to survive in this world we have, which is how to communicate, how to clarify your values, what you want, how to get what you want, how to say no, how to get out of a relationship, how to manage your states. All these things are I taught history for 2 years, and I always say I never saw anyone who got divorced because they didn't memorize the 5 causes of the Civil War. They got divorced because they didn't know how to communicate, they didn't know how to negotiate, they didn't know how to listen, so on and so forth. So we're not teaching human beings human skills. So when you get older, I mean, I say to my sister, you're responsible. Go where people are, Robert Schuller once said, if you want to kill a moose, you got to go where moose live. And so I think that's true. And a lot of people are so afraid of rejection. You talked about it earlier with the fear of speaking. And unfortunately, one of the things I always tell people is if you get rejected, I always say rejection's a myth. If I ask you to eat lunch with me and you say no, I didn't have anyone to eat lunch with before I asked you, I don't have anyone to eat lunch with after I asked you, my world did not get worse. It only gets worse if I go in and go, oh, my mother was right, I'll always be alone the rest of my life. But that's my responsibility. And so I have to take responsibility for that. But I think that That is a thing I see. And I see it across cultures, not just in America or India or Asia, or Australia, England, European countries. I see it everywhere.
What do you see, Pooja? India, you guys meet Meghana. What do you guys see as a general problem happening out there in the world right now?
I think yesterday in the aeroplane also we were talking about this, that anything you start working too much with, then that itself turns into a problem. Like I've started working a lot with women with identity, and I'm feeling like even this whole act of becoming a extreme individual by yourself is also an issue now, because families had a purpose. Different people played a role, and just to become very selfish, and yes, you may make it and you may become very successful, but that does at some point start to feel like empty victory. So I think understanding that we work on ourselves to eventually become the givers of the world, not to keep taking. That taking has to stop somewhere. So I feel like that's another huge problem that's coming, that we are not realizing the importance of how people need to be, how we need to surround ourselves with people who can truly support us, but it starts with us giving first.
Loneliness, self-esteem, Meghana, what do you see?
I feel there's a lot of division has happened in the world now, where there has been division already, but now it is even more prominent, where part of people, those who are constantly feeling that they need to chase something, which is an illusion that they see on social media. And a part of people are like us, those who are realizing that it is not outside, it's starting with me and focusing, but that part is very small. So I feel that chasing has become more like running behind the material goals, and there is nothing wrong in it. But I think the objective and intention is to show it to the world. And because of that, there's a lot of isolation, a lot of jealousy, envy, a lot of, problems between the families, amongst the families, also the children, like Marisa and Jack has said rightly. Like I have a Gen Z at home, and because of the environment at home is to focus on inside, the way he is it doesn't relate to the other Gen Zs, which are like chasing certain things. So there is a lot of division in thinking is what I have observed, and that needs to be taken care.
Thaddeus, you?
I think, and on top, building on all of these here is a collective or maybe an individual sense of not having the tools and resources to combat that or to deal with it or to handle that. And so there's a lot of rushing towards a shortcut, the magic pill, a quick fix, right? So, I'm experiencing a particular issue. Well, what is that pill that I can take for that, right? We talk about that's why loneliness. That's why there's a proliferation of pornography, because it's a quick fix. I do a lot of work with the military, and I had this military instructor, and he trains special forces snipers, and he says the job of a sniper is to head out into the unknown, spend days up on a tree, waiting for the enemy to appear. He says, these days, I'm training soldiers, they climb a tree, they sit there for 20 minutes, they go like, when are they coming? And so we are unable or not willing to do the work. And we're looking for that quick fix, for that magic pill. And so with all the children, with the self-esteem, with all that self-talk, is this overarching, I can't.
I was in the school in Dubai last month and asking the kids, and because I want to be an influencer, a podcaster. Nobody said I want to be a fireman, an architect, or even a doctor. It was all influencer, podcaster. And because they believe that that's easy. And then we hear about people think I can just sit in my house and manifest $1 million and a perfect partner, and I don't have to work. And people forgotten this thing called hard work.
Yeah, I want to become a crypto billionaire and retire when I'm 30.
But they don't want to, and that's because they just don't have role models anymore showing them that, and they watch television, and it's the same thing. And we've sort of lost that thing about believing in yourself, very important. Find out what you love, and then work very hard at it, because that in itself is his reward.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about education, which is what you're talking about. Before that, you started something here. Today, the kids are looking up to people who make money fast, either creators or whatever. And we also know some of them are very, very good because we know these people, but some of them, they're not what they portray they are. They're actually not happy. They're not successful. So what do you want to tell people who really look up to them? How do they really do it? What is
Well,
your message for them?
people always say, oh, fame damages people. But I've seen the opposite. I see damaged people drawn to fame as this is going to cure everything. Life isn't fair, but I'll be famous. Everybody will love me. And now, of course, you don't have to have talent to be famous. You can go on one of those reality TV shows and be famous. But damaged people are attracted to fame. And when you're damaged, you become famous. It doesn't cure the damage. It makes it worse. I went to someone's house recently, and this woman had a bank of photographers all around her house, 3 lines deep. I said, how can you live like this? It's insane. She goes, no, I need the press, because then I feel I matter. The only way I know I matter is if I've got all these photographers camped outside my house. And, then I feel important. But what she was saying is I'm not important at all. So I became famous to be important. And now I can't end it because if they go, I'll feel not important again. So fame doesn't make things. You need to be strong to deal with fame in the first place. It damages
You're going to
many
put all these
people.
photographers out of business if you're successful.
Because fame
Well, they're
and-
going out of business anyway with AI.
Yeah.
But you have to have a strong sense in any business, including teaching. We know a lot of teachers who fall apart. You have to have a strong sense of who am I? What is my gift? And am I sharing it? And I say to everyone I work with, even children, look, your job is to find your gift and then perfect your gift. Work hard on your gift and then share your gift with the world. But you can't say, well, you don't need a gift, just go and be famous anyway. Even people who have made it. I know Anthony Hopkins, and he's always working, always stretching himself, never retiring. And that can't be easy to play some of those parts. And athletes, they train all the time. But I think, people think life should be easy, and easy doesn't teach you anything. So I think that belief that being famous will make you happy. If being rich made you happy, everyone who's rich would be happy. Being beautiful made you happy, everyone who's beautiful would be happy. And if fame made you happy, we'd have all these, look at Marilyn Monroe. She was rich, beautiful, and famous. Was she happy? No, she killed herself. So we have to go back and say, we're telling people a lie. Money, fame, and looks will make you happy. And that's just not true. A sense of yourself, finding your purpose, doing what you love. My father was one of the most fulfilled men I ever knew because he loved being a teacher. And he died, he said, I've had the best job in the world. He didn't care about money or fame. He cared about making an impact with children. So he was a great teacher for me. And I think we've forgotten that we should be teaching kids, find something you're good at, that you love, and be even better at it. And that might not be being a podcaster or an influencer or a celebrity, because there's so many of them. And we all see the ones who've made it, but we forget about all the ones who haven't. I know
that's completely different story. Yep.
Stephen Bartlett, I've been on his podcast twice, and he said for 3 years, no one listened to his podcast for 3 years, but he kept going because he had faith and self-belief. But that's hard to keep going. And now he's done very well because he has tenacity. We don't teach that in school. Oh, you don't like that? You don't have to do that. Don't do anything you don't like, but you only grow when you do what you don't like. And I'm sure you saw those kids, the ones who have tenacity and determination and drive will be okay, but we don't teach that anywhere.
Yeah. Something a shaman in the rainforest told me the last time I was down in Ecuador. He said, the people of the North, referring to Canada, US, said, you're addicted to comfort. You never want to be uncomfortable. So our kids don't want to they don't want to feel sad. They don't want to feel left out. They don't want to feel all that. It's important that we help them learn how to include themselves and achieve those things, but not by us protecting them from the reality of life. This fragile thing is one of my favorite TV shows is Bill Maher, and he's a montage in the beginning. You see these kids coming into college. It's this college. They come in and they come out the other side like a conveyor belt. They're all marked fragile, and it's unfortunate. And I agree with you. You don't give offense, you take offense. And then we have not learned that. And now everyone's, can't talk about that. I'm about to say women, you may want to leave before I say that word, It's crazy. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, Jack, this. Let's talk about something which you told a little early. This should have been taught in schools, right? All the stuff you're talking about, of a normal conversation backstage, why is it not taught in school?
But I think
Is
it
the
will
education.
be. I think in 10 years, the whole school system is going to change. Like in Scandinavia, children self-select their lessons. So they go to what they're naturally good at and like. And They don't force them to do something they hate. So I think in about 10 years, we're going to see a dramatic difference in the school system.
I do. I think it's going to be hard in the U.S. I can't speak for education in India. I don't know it that well. But we've got, until the teacher education institutions teach teachers how to teach it, until we have the state boards of education supporting it, local school districts supporting it. When I started doing self-esteem workshops, I would have to go across picket lines. When I would do a teacher training, there'd be fundamentalist Christians out there going, "You're teaching our children to love themselves. They should only love Jesus." And it was like, oh my God, can they do both? This would be good. But it's like you've got these parents who are wanting to control education in a way that don't do anything new with my kids, and you've got a lot of interest. I remember when Ted Kennedy was helping us to get into Africa, to this one country, to teach self-esteem in the schools, and the president nixed it. And we wanted to find out why. And when it came back through channels was, we don't want a society where the citizens feel that good about themselves, because then they'll want more, they'll rebel when they don't get it, So it's not to our advantage to control people if they like themselves and they're empowered. So I don't think we have that trouble in a lot of countries, but that was the case there.
India is the same, because India, where it's more academics, the parents push the kids for the marks, because it's only marks, marks, marks. Nobody teaches you how to deal with failure. Nobody talks about relationship here. Nobody talks about money. Any life skills you need. Yep. Nothing is happening in India. And I think we have a system which is 30, 50 years old. It's the same. Nothing much has changed. You're saying 10 years it's going to change somewhere. I hope that something happens in India a little at least. You're an English teacher. You tell me, education.
The teachers are not equipped for, if we've got the system, and if something happens in a system, we revolutionize the system. But we need the people who can work the system. And I feel teachers have grown up in the old system, and they are not equipped. I'll use a simple example. I used to teach in a junior college. These are 17, 18-year-old kids going on to university. And to go to university, you're making a life decision on what's next, what's post. And university is about getting you to whatever it is you want to pursue, a career, a passion, or whatever that might be. And the teachers who are teaching in that teaching those 17, 18-year-old students are about 23 and 24. They are 3 years older than the kids that they're teaching. They went to university, got a degree in education, and came out to teach those students. And I used to challenge that. I said, well, the 23, 24-year-olds have not seen life. How do you expect that they're going to teach these students to make life decisions? They are ill-equipped for that. So they've not either had a official training or the training of life.
The system is old. Teachers don't know how to teach, and the kids are more smart with technology. Kids are very, very, very smart. Now that's a very bad combination. Where the
Suren,
kids
I
are
would like
smart.
to weigh in a
Yeah.
little bit. There was a time when I actually approached a lot of schools. This is before Success Gyan, because I knew that what I'm seeing is the parents bringing their children and saying, fix this. And when I would look at that, I would tell the parents, the child doesn't need a fixing. What we need to fix is you. Okay, so I realized that I need to go to the schools, and because my child was growing up and I was seeing the gap from the teacher's perspective, and I went to the school and I started with my child's school, and I said, I would like to train your teachers, because I started seeing the way I'm talking to my child. So I'm empowering my child, saying that it's okay if you fail in maths, that doesn't define your life. You will learn it. And I said, I was bad at it. Eventually I grew up, I became better at it. So it's just a matter of learning and growing. After hearing me a few times, my son comes back and says that you tell me I'm smart, but when I go to the school, my teacher says that I'm stupid because I can't solve the problem. I thought, wow, I need to go to speak to the teacher. I went to speak to the teacher, and she's like, he's in 4th standard. He must know all these things. How is that possible that he doesn't know this? I said, I didn't know it. I was called stupid again, but I am here. I'm a doctor. I'm a very successful person right now in my life. And this is a pretty expensive school where I can afford my child to go to. So obviously my life is not bad, I couldn't solve a problem in 4th standard. So she couldn't understand. She's like, no, you're mollycoddling your child. I said, no, I'm not asking you to mollycoddle my child. I said, I allow him to get bored. I allow him to feel bad. I allow him to feel rejected. And that's part of life. What I want you to not tell him that because he can't solve a problem right now, he won't be able to do it for the rest of his life.
Because that's
So-
a conditioning they're
That's
giving
a
to the kid,
conditioning, right?
which she solves later
Yeah.
in the life.
No, so what happened? I'll tell you what happened after that. So I went to the principal and I said, this is what I want to do. And principal was like, okay, I'm a parent of the student. So she's like, yes, please do it. So I tried creating a proposal. I went on, did it. I went to other schools, gave the same proposals. The feedback that I got from the management was very surprising, that our teachers are overloaded with current curriculum and work. We won't be able to spare time for the teachers to give this. And the second thing they said is that this, if we have to incorporate this in our classroom, then we have to eliminate the actual curriculum because we have to give you that time. And it cannot be done at this stage. So that's a bigger problem, I feel, Suren, that so what we are dealing with here is the schools do not have that time to give this addition. And I don't believe that if you can give like a PT classes to be once a week, you cannot solve a problem giving 1 hour a week. This is like every day, the way you communicate, converse, and the way you deal with it, right? It has to be part of curriculum, and that starts with the teachers and parents getting into this under the same canopy where they are going inside out.
With all you masters here putting the message out there in the world, hope we saw the seed where education wakes up and understands that these are things which need to be taught in schools.
But one of the things schools do so badly is they try to make children be good at everything, and that's not possible. If you're good at sport, you might not be good at science, maybe not good at art. There were so many things I wasn't good at school, but I was lucky. And my daughter, who's an artist, she went through a lot of pain at school because she was always going to be an artist. She goes, Mummy, I could never have a normal job. She was never going to work in IT, but she was really pushed to be good at every subject. And artists are creative people. They're not great at science, and she didn't need any of that. She's doing very well. But that's the problem, is trying to make your kid good at everything. And as a parent, you should say, hey, you're so good at this. This is going to be your career. You're really good at IT. You're really good at languages. You're really good at writing. Joe Malone will tell you she's always making perfume from bits of flowers when she was a kid. I was always writing stories about unhappy families when I became a therapist. But what you're good at is very linked to what you love in the age of 5 and 15. And as parents, if we can say to our kid, look, just focus on your gift and then help the schools to do that too, that in itself would change education. Don't make kids good at everything. And don't reward achievement, reward effort. The gifted kids get all the prizes, they don't even do any work. And the other ones that work so hard, well, what's the point? I never get a prize.
What you have to address is that the culture in general in every country is psychologically ignorant. They don't know these things you just talked about. They don't know what you know. They don't know what I know. They don't know what you know. And so you're going into a school where all the teachers don't know this stuff. And I always say, would you be willing to run a class to teach people how to fish if you hated fishing? No. The people that get excited about this are like us, because we do it and we go, wow, our whole life's better. Now we want to go do it for other people. The only programs I've seen that's worked on any kind of massive level is when they took a serious amount of money, took a bunch of teachers for the summer, like a month of training, real intense training, put them back in the school, and now there's a class called Education of the Self or Self-Education or whatever. And it's a class that you go to, once a week, every day, whatever. It's like just like there's math, there's social science, there's self-science, where you learn how to handle yourself. That works, but it requires a tremendous amount of. And the problem with a school like yours, if it's a good school, they're focused on getting the kids into good colleges. That's the academics. That's how they know they won. And so they don't see this because they don't understand it because they're not psychologically hip, And you guys are, and we are. Our job is to keep doing this. And eventually someone will wake up and go, yeah. But it's like, we just keep putting it into the culture. That's what we have to do. Then eventually.
You know what happened when I spoke to the principal? It was funny because the principal said, no, everything is great. We never call our children like that. We just want our children to be good human beings. I once again went and I said that, but my child is a good human being. I don't have to make a good human being. You're born good human being. You just not have to damage it. That's the care we have to take care.
Yeah. How to stop
Right.
damaging kids as much. That's exactly
That's the
right.
point. And when you say that they're preparing them for college, I get that, right? Ultimately the parents are going to ask, especially in India, like Suren said, that it's important that we get marks. We're still in the country where we are looking for certain level of success is measured by what college you get into or what kind of career you have. So, but the point here starts from the space that they are a good human being. How do you retain that goodness in them and prepare them for the world outside? But I think what you're saying is right, that because we understand this, we cannot expect everybody else to understand it.
The school system in Dubai, children have to have therapy as part of it. And in work, you have to be given 30 hours of therapy a year free. The employer has to pay for it. So it's quite forward thinking. That's why I moved there, because it's very forward thinking in terms of mental health. They are taking it seriously. And maybe where they lead, other people will follow.
I was asked a question once, if you're an education minister and you can only make one change, what will you do?
Resign.
I said, if I have only one change to make,
What would it be?
I said, at 6th grade, let the kid choose what they want to do and study things which will lead them there. I think we do that, it will fix a lot of problem, right? You just let them do what they love and let them study what they have to study instead of just getting degrees done. I know education, we can do a separate roundtable on education, but I'm going to talk about something and I'm going to go to you, Siddh. You're the digital geek, right? AI technology is disrupting the whole industry across the industries, right? Especially coaching. Tell me, what is AI going to do coaching?
So I'll take it from the thread of education, because it's all connected. We are now living in a world where memorization, rote learning, it does not have any value, because now kids are already searching for what they want. So if I have to look at education, is like, where is the world going? And the second thing is, what will humans be? What can humans add value to the world? And then the system should cater to that. And of course, at the core, we are humans, so we go through. We need to deal with life, and that's, I think, the missing. Like you said, in 6th grade, if you can bring in that combined with what they want to do, they'll be able to sail through. Now, AI, there are based on, I think that we are reading a lot, we are seeing a lot that's happening, but I feel the next 18 months is really crucial, because we are at that exponential curve which is kicking in. Like till now, technology has been built for a long time, but now what's going to happen in the next 18 months is going to be much faster than what happened in the last 4 or 5 years. Now, there are many things that have led to this point, because now we've got OpenAI that's playing. Now China is also playing this race, which is leading to, now we are using AI, say ChatGPT, which is more like generative AI. We are using it for text, we're using it for video, we can generate movies, we can generate, we can do a lot of stuff. Even thinking, even like for, even for this conversation, I just, made a list of what all can we discuss here to make it valuable for the audience. And I use some AI to get some ideas. So AI is right now in the first stage of where we can get direction. But now AI is trying to learn our behaviors and patterns, and it's going to come to a point where AGI, or what they talk about, artificial general intelligence, where AI can think on its own, do things on its own. And now this is going to be the year of agents. So for example, if I just give a prompt saying that, okay, I want to start this business. Anything on technology, AI can do it, right from doing market research, designing your website, creating content, designing your marketing campaigns, running the campaigns, analyzing the data, correcting your ads, and everything can happen automatically. And this is like crazy. It's going to be taking off jobs for so many other people who are in that system. So what I'm trying to say is, now AI is not going to replace us, but people who use AI, every industry who use AI in the most creative way, they're going to replace other industries. So as a coach, when I look at like what I've done is I've AI-fied all of my courses, and I've come up with a concept where people need to enter whatever they want, and they feed that into ChatGPT, and they get responses, and they start to use ChatGPT as a co-pilot. So because it has all the data of their core information. So as a coach, where I see it going is, it's no more about information, because information is there. It's about connection and human-to-human connection. And I think that's going to make us more valuable as a coach. If we can provide those environments where people can connect on a human to human level. Let AI do everything else in terms of the thinking part. That's what's going to give us an edge.
Yeah, I guess what you said, right? Environment and experiences. Very critical now. Exactly, physical experiences. The more you connect people, because I really believe transformation happens when the subject and object meets at high intensity. The key word is high intensity. The environment we create, when that information lands, the transformation breakthrough happens inside. Okay, the last one, and I want everyone to answer here. How do you want to be remembered? Your legacy. Who wants to start with this?
I want to be remembered for putting therapy into the school system. If I could pick one thing, it would definitely be that. But I actually want to put myself out of business so that the next generation don't need therapy. That's what I'd like to be remembered for.
That's a great way to look at Marisa.
It's a great title for a paper you should write.
Yeah, okay, how to put myself, that's what I
I'll
want.
put the next, put on business.
Thaddeus?
Yeah, there was like Nelson Mandela, right? And to put the apartheid movement out of business, right? That way, that's where you succeeded. I want to challenge that question a little bit, insofar as I'm not going to be remembered. The remembrance or memory has an expiry date. There will come a time when people will not remember JF Kennedy. There are people who did not know who Elvis Presley was. In fact, do you know all the names of your grandparents? So within the family, you will be forgotten. And so maybe instead of working towards what I'm going to be remembered for, because I'm going to fail to be remembered past a certain date. I think the question I want to ask myself repeatedly each day is what use have I been today? And that impact on that is going to come from someone else's experience rather than a mental recall. So it could be on that day providing high intensity for somebody. It could be that day asking a particular question. It could be that day, that moment where someone just feels seen and heard. What use have I been in this round table?
Mm-hmm. That's how you really measure your everyday metrics of existence in this planet. Meghna?
I would agree to that because I know that I will not be remembered after a certain point. But I feel that legacy that I have is already here. And the legacy is this, what I'm sharing here. And the legacy is the values or the feeling that I have that I matter in that macro to micro that I was talking about, right? And every single person whom I connect with, meet or touch their lives, if they truly believe in their existence that they matter and they live up to who they can be, I think that's all for me is a legacy. That it will change the generations and then, like Mahatma Gandhi says, be the change you want to see. So I firmly believe that there is no purpose of a human life. The only purpose of the human life is evolve from who you are, transcend from one form to another till you reach divinity. And if that is a legacy, every single person lives on this planet. We will not have this division, will not have these wars, these weapons, nothing will be there. We will not blame governments and economy and problems. We will just become the best. And when we become the best, I think the world becomes the best.
Okay, because they've changed my question. So I'm going to change the question now, okay? In your tombstone, okay, date is there. If there's only one line about you, what it should be? So you can think about it before she answers.
I'm going to be reincarnated. There will be no tombstone. And I say that in all seriousness because it's for what you said. I'm not doing what I do because I want to be remembered for it.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I do because it's fulfilling me. And I believe that whatever brings me joy is a reflection of my purpose. So there's this woman, Esther Hicks, who channels this being called Abraham, who says, joy is your feedback system that you're on purpose. So when I'm on purpose and doing what I'm doing, then that is what I'm running a group right now called the Legacy Club, which is interesting. And we talk about being a living legacy, not what we're going to be remembered by, not what's going to happen when you're dead, but can you live it now and do what makes you fulfilled? Because when you do that, everybody benefits. And so for me, I want to just be, I think it was some English guy, I can't remember his name right now, but he said, when I die, I want to be fully burned out like a candle, you know, there's nothing left. And so if I do that and I contribute and I enjoy the process, then if nobody remembers me, I don't care. But I mean, do you really care when you're dead?
Yeah, exactly. That's my exact point.
None of these people who had near-death experiences come back and say, oh yeah, everyone was up there talking about you, you know?
Yeah, which brings me in that way when you say that, Jack, to actually not upon death or post-death, but in that final moment of aliveness, what I want to be able to say to myself is, your point about damage is, he did not cause any lasting damage. That's how I want to go.
Puja.
I think for me, it was back in 2010 when I was attending Jack's Breakthrough to Success, and day 2, sitting there, he was talking from stage, and I just couldn't stop crying, realizing that this work should have come to India a long time ago, and why isn't it there? And I think that became the purpose. And I think it's only got refined from there. But August 2010 is when I realized that I want to be, I don't know about being remembered, but I want to leave this, that we were the pathfinders of these subjects in India. And I think to me that means a lot. And having said that, to add to that, now it's more become like everyone should have a coach. That, you know, why are we going through life reinventing the wheel when there are people who can, in the subject that is of importance to you, let's go learn it. It used to be there. Internships were that. Before colleges came in, we used to just go work with the person that we wanted to learn from, become the profession. And I feel like if each one of us has a coach in the topic of our, we will get there so much faster. I think Jack has this beautiful line, if you get a master to go faster. I think I loved that line so much. So yeah, I just want to make sure that this subject no longer remains only for the elitist, that it actually goes and seeps into the system as a part of just the way we learn geography, chemistry, history. Why is this subject not already in schools, in life, in families, and everywhere where it can be? Corporates, colleges, how can we, seep it in?
Siddz.
I just like the bumblebee, you know, there's no, like Blair says, just do the work every single day. I'm not thinking about anything else. The ripples are just, you know, being formed. So when I think about like what I want to be remembered for, it is more to do with just in the history. If you look at the timeline of thousands of years, there's been moments of golden ages that have happened. And of course, so I'm just thinking, okay, what can I do to just be a catalyst to this golden age? That's it.
Same here, Sid. And I just want to say that thanks to Blair, thanks to all of you. Personally, for me, I wake up every single day only thinking of 3 things. One is, I want every common man to be given a fair chance to be successful in all areas of their life. Can we create a universe and ecosystem where they can just come and learn from whoever they want? Because if they're open to learning, they can get anything and everything they want in life. That's one thing. Second, I'm going to do whatever it takes to see if we can change the education system in this country, or put an alternate education system. That's my second. Third, make Indian teachers truly world-class and make India the coaching capital of the world. So that's the reason why I wake up every single morning. And I want to say it's been a phenomenal conversation. Thank you, Masters, for your time. I truly loved it. It was an honor, privilege to have each one of you. Really looking forward that we do one more roundtable. I don't know when that's going to happen. And we want to get you back to India to get that happen. And Marisa, it's been a truly honor, pleasure. Because what I love about you, one line you throw, it's got such a deep meaning. And every one line of yours that. And 4 of you, I know you very well. So there's nothing more to say. Thank you so much.